Hi, welcome back. So today we're going to simplify a few more different types of expressions. Going to involve a lot of negatives and some other things that we tend to struggle with. So I'm going to go ahead, we're going to look right at the first one. And it's always a good thing, even though this does not say do by order of operations, it's always kind of an easier way to go ahead about simplifying these problems. There are other ways you can do it if it doesn't say use order of operations, but order of operations is like king of the castle. It always works. Okay, so if I go ahead and have my first one, I have 6 minus, and I have a set of parentheses with stuff in it. So order of operations does say we want to go ahead and take care of our grouping symbols first. I definitely want to do that here. It's just going to make my life a little bit easier. So I have 6 minus, and 7 plus 3 is 10. Now here I have opposite signs. I have 6 minus 10, so I have $6, but I spend 10, which means somewhere along the line I'm going to owe somebody $4. Okay, because 10 minus 6 is 4, but the 10 is the bigger number with the negative, so it's a negative 4. Okay, same thing with the one below. When we have stuff with minus in between, it tends to give us a lot of trouble with that second piece. So it's always a good thing to go ahead first and simplify both my parentheses. Okay, so I have negative 22 plus 14. Okay, so if I go ahead, now these are opposite signs, so I need to subtract, and my larger number is negative, so I need to go ahead and make sure that it's negative. So I'm going to have a negative number, and 22 minus 14 is going to give me 8. I'm going to keep my minus sign in between, and then I'm going to go ahead and take care of the next parenthesis. Now these ones are the same sign, so we got to add and keep the sign, and I'm also, in this case, also going to keep my parenthesis. My answer is going to be a negative, and 8 plus 3 gives me 11. Now we have that whole idea of minus and negative, the same thing we encountered with integers. So my negative 8 is not going to change, but the negative and a negative tell me that I have to go ahead and change that to a plus, however you go about that, and it's be plus 11, okay? Which was going to give me, my 11 is a positive number, and it's bigger, so it's going to be a positive, and it's going to be 3. Right. Moving on to some other problems here. So here I have a double set of grouping symbols. I have a set of brackets, and I have a set of parentheses. So remember, we want to always work inside to outside. Okay. So I'm going to leave my outside alone. I'm going to leave the stuff in my bracket alone. And I'm going to work with my parentheses. So I have 1 minus 3, that's going to give me a negative 2. I kept the parenthesis because look, again, I have those double negative signs going on. All right. So my bracket here is actually going to be 4 plus 2, with this stuff still on the outside. So 4 plus 2 is going to give me 6 in my bracket. And the bracket's not going to change anything. I have 7 minus 6. That's going to give me 1. Okay? The next one's a bunch of decimals, okay? But there's no parentheses here. Right? You can handle this in 2 different ways. We have a property with addition that allows us to rearrange the order, or you could handle this as a strict order of operations problem. I'm going to do this as an order of operations problem, which means I need to go ahead and take care of this part first. So I have 10.6. I'm going to subtract 5.1. Make sure you line up your decimals. My 6 minus 1 is 5. 10 minus 5 is 5. This is my bigger number, so it stays positive. And now my problem is 5.5 plus 3.3. And I'm just going to add these two together. Okay, so 5.5, 3.3, nice easy numbers here. I'm adding, so it's going to be positive when I'm done. Lining up my decimal, I have 8.8. And that's going to be my final answer. All right. And let's look at this one. Now, this is a fraction. Okay. Please do not be intimidated by these. Remember, exponents tell us how many times we're multiplying the thing inside by itself. Okay? So 1/2 to the third power is 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. Okay? The 2/3 needs to be repeated. Whoops, something happened. Okay, sorry about that. It needs to be repeated by itself. Now there's multiplication in between. So I need to multiply 2/3 by itself twice. Okay, notice I actually haven't multiplied anything. Because remember, if I have the same number in the top of any fraction in multiplication and the same number on the bottom of any fraction, I can go ahead and cancel those out. I also have another set of 2's, and I can go ahead and cancel them out. Now when I cancel them out, they become 1's. Okay, so these are all 1. So what I'm really left with here is I have a 1/2. I have a 1/1, which is just 1. Another 1/1, which is just 1. And I have a 1/3. And another 1/3. It looks a lot better like this. Okay, now I can go ahead. Now 1 times 1 times 1 on the top is just going to give me 1. 2 times 3 here gives me 6. 6 times 3 gives me 18, and I'm done. Okay, so when you have repeated fractions with an exponent, go ahead and just go ahead and write it out, because you might find that things cancel and it ends up being very nice. Okay, last one we're going to talk about today. This one I would definitely handle as an order of operations problem. If I'm going to go ahead and work the top, I have 3 plus 3 times 5. Multiplication comes before addition, so I have 15 plus 3, which gives me 18. My 3 minus 9, my 9 is bigger, gives me -6. If I go ahead and put it back together, I have 18 in my numerator. I have -6 in the denominator. Remember, division works just like multiplication. I have a positive and a negative, so my answer should be negative. And 18 divided by 6 is 3. All right, so not too bad, right? We might have to practice a little bit with the fractions, but other than that, you are ready to go ahead and work on the problems, and I will see you tomorrow.